because the sperm is the substance in which we're working with, it's important that while semen is being produced, certain things are taking place, and that's sort of when you want to be doing these rituals during a state of arousal. And certainly to be able to delay the orgasm as long as possible, to get to as close as you can to the breaking point and to hold back, to get as close as you can to the breaking point and hold back continually as long as you are able, is the most way to, I don't know how else to describe it, but to charge the physical substance, the semen, with the energy that is being invoked in the rituals. And to do this repeatedly during ceremonial rituals is going to make the substance far more potent and far more powerful than it would otherwise. Because literally your body is producing this as you are doing this. So to accept the idea that through the rituals of the pentagram and the hexagram, spiritual energies are being invoked into the physical body while your body is producing a living substance, that's huge, and that should be carefully controlled and carefully thought about. What becomes most difficult at this point, of course, because we are talking about a state of physiological arousal, male or female, is what Crowley warns us about in the Book of the Law. Well, Iwas warns us about in the Book of the Law, the lust of result. And this is one of those other things that, again, I don't have a solution for. This is a huge problem. We're talking about a state of lust, and at the same time trying to not lust for the result that the ritual is supposed to perform, because Crowley says essentially that if you're too hard after making it work, and you're not concentrated on the technical aspects and the precise aspects, a clarity of mind, lust for result fogs your mind and makes you afraid to fail, essentially, and fear of failure and the forerunner of failure, as the Oath in the Golden Dawn goes.
That's why it's delivered from lust, right?
Yeah, precisely.
Something that must be delivered from.
Yeah, and that's something that we have to focus on and deal with, and it becomes especially hard when you are in a state of sexual arousal, because that's a time when people get a little bit foggy upstairs and may make decisions or do things they wouldn't normally do, and that can become an issue in evocation as well, actually. So what do you do with this substance once you got it, having covered those bases? You can use it for different things. Activating a talisman is certainly an example of someone, and Crowley in the Equinox outlines how to make talismans in good detail. And you can use them for all kinds of different things. You can anoint a spot on the body in terms of healing or focusing energy. Basically, to figure out all the things that you can use this substance for, all you have to do is get past the idea that it's icky fluids and start thinking of it as sex and the substance that is created as a set of tools and a kind of technology, rather than just impulse and desire and something that should be hidden away. Once that mental leap is made, all the potentials for this substance become clear. Certain spirits like it as a sacrifice, certainly. There's a lot of different ways it can be used. It's just a matter of making that leap and stopping to think about it as just goo and starting to think about it as a tool to be used. Now, the male orgasm is involved with a certain climax, which is usually involved with a period of sort of like physical debilitation, I would say, afterward. The female orgasm is not like that at all. It's a continuous process, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the sexual energy ends or finishes in the same way. For some women it does, but not always. So, based on all the things that I've said, I'd like to go around the room and ask people what they think that, because like I said, I have no solution, what they think this might mean about the female orgasm and how it could be used magically. We'll start with Darren, because he's not left.
That's a really tough one.
It is a really tough one. That's why I wanted to go around the room.
Yeah, totally.
Because
Because it's really. I mean, especially speaking as a man, it's just I just don't feel like I have the place to even speculate. But I mean,
shot in the dark. No one's expecting you to solve the problem.
Yeah. Really.
What's the question? What's the actual question?
Yeah.
How the female orgasm could be used magically. Based on all the things I've said about the male orgasm, because that's mostly, like I said, that's what the whole tradition is focused on. If you look at Basil Valentine, or you look at the Keys of Eudoxus, you look at any of these ancient alchemical texts, which are essentially sex manuals that are formulated in the story of like lions and unicorns and griffins and shit, and they're all supposed to represent different body parts and fluids. Yeah, there's no female colory there, basically. Jay, you got anything?
Oh no, again, I'm not a female, so I don't really know the mechanics of it as far as actually experiencing the orgasm, but it's my belief that women come upon channeling and things like that much easier than men usually, as far as being a medium or something like that. Also, I see the female orgasm as kind of a constant state of heightened energy, or, you know what I mean? Like,
So you think it might be good, like, for channeling, is what you're saying?
well, maybe the heightened state of energy, for lack of a better word, that heightened emotional state, I guess, can be used as a reservoir for magical energy, you know?
Okay, makes sense to me.
Theoretically speaking,
You guy?
No, it's actually neat. I don't know with the magical context, but I saw a lecture by a female anthropologist, evolutionary anthropologist, who's like wrote about the female orgasm. And apparently, there's no like evolutionary explanation for a female orgasm because she doesn't require one in order to become impregnated.
Yeah, a lot of animals don't
Yeah.
have that.
So like it's kind of been written off by evolutionary science, and she was accused for having written it off, but she just viewed it as like she called it like an evolutionary residue, and she got a lot of flack for that. But she was saying like she should have called it like an evolutionary gratuitous bonus for
evolutionary one-up.
yeah. But it seems like if you're a man practicing magic, that if you displace your desire onto the woman and you put your desire into giving her an orgasm instead of, because like men are very quick to arouse and females take time, as soon as you take that to the extreme, that is you displace the lust and the desire on, like you just completely focus it, empty yourself onto another. So you get like the Kali and Shiva, where Kali's alive and humping the guy, he's dead and he's empty and he's like.
Okay, that's an interesting image to call up, because Crowley does use that actually a couple times himself.
Yeah. So that's what immediately comes to mind of the idea is to divest yourself of all desire by indulging it to the maximum, but then giving it all away at once.
It's interesting
It's
because...
like, the whole pouring everything on top of that.
Well, yeah. It's also significant, I think, that Crowley says at one point when he's talking about sex magic, that it's better to... If your partner is not magically trained, it's better that they have no idea what the object of the operation is. And if they are magically trained, certainly you should know together, but if you're just having, like, he obviously, there's a period of his life that he was fucking like 3 people a day, men and women and whatever, and it all went down in his diary. He couldn't even, like, remember everyone's names, so, he was having a great deal of sex. And at the same time, he was doing sex magic with this sex, but his partners had no idea what he was doing. He was mentally doing the rituals in an astral state while he was in the physical act of sex. And this is actually the reason that I kind of put some stock in Israel Regardie's very apocryphal story, I should say, where he talks about one time he's playing chess with Crowley, and one of his lovers came over, and Crowley goes into the next room, and they're having sex, and he's calling out moves from the bedroom in the act of coitus, and wins the game because he's able to keep straight in his head where all the pieces are while he's actually having sex. But like that's the only reason I give that story any credit at all is because he says that you're supposed to be able to do these rituals while you're in this act.
I'm just gonna hustle.
Fair enough.